Hello, my name is Thomas Nickel and I'm going to talk about my code and how I implemented it. So the first picture here represents the structure of my website. So at the top you can see a login page. The login page is the page where the user enters his PIN, and when the PIN number is correct, it takes him to my home page, and the home page is linked to other three pages: education, hobbies, and contact page. This is a wireframe and it represents the layout of my websites. So at the top there's a banner picture, underneath is navigation bar, then title, content, and at the bottom is a footer. These ones are pictures of my websites or web pages validated with a free W School validator, and all of them are without error. So you can see here home page, education page, hobbies, contacts, and the last picture shows the external CSS sheet, all as well without errors. Now I'm going to talk about the code itself, and first I start with this section. This section linked the pages to home page. So for example, I'll show you this. This one is linked to home page. If I click education page, it takes me to education, hobbies, contact, and video presentation. I link this page in order to upload the presentation video here. When I finish, I upload the presentation video here, but I didn't include that in the sitemap because it's not part of the website. So I link the web pages with the help of these lines here. So the web pages were linked with this A attribute. The A tag defines a hyperlink, and the ref attribute indicates the link destination. So that's how I link the pages. Now I'm going to talk about external CSS. So to style, for example, this image, the banner picture, in line of 86 here, to style the image, class attribute is used to specify class here for an HTML element. In this case, it is used to point to class name in a style sheet, which is external CSS here. So and in order to use the external CSS, I imported into the head section of the HTML document this line here, which links both pages, like the HTML document with the external CSS here. So, and in external CSS, the picture was styled. For example, I used the width property, height, object feed, and other properties. Now I'm going to talk about the internal CSS. So internal CSS style is defined inside the style element here, inside the head section of the HTML document. So for example, I used inline 1 to 1. This I embedded a picture, and in order to style the picture, I used the internal CSS. So there's a source of the picture and audio. Okay, and I use the class to point to the name. You know, this one, it's called responsive. So I use this name in this section here, responsive, and modify the height, border radius, and other properties of the picture. Now I'm going to talk about the inline CSS. So I employed inline CSS in this line here. So, for example, h1 tag is used to define HTML headings here, and the style attribute is used to change in my case here, the font size and, for example, background color. So I modified this welcome message here, and I used Inline Css to do that. In my HTML document, I also followed CEO guidelines. So, for example, this line here, I follow the guidelines. So it's CEO says, for example, that the name should be unique and accurate for the page title. So for example, this one is homepage, so I called it my CV homepage, and for this page it is education page. The title is called my CV education page. So as you can see, for each page I used a unique and accurate title. The other guideline that I followed is related to my images. So for example, I'm going to talk about how I embedded this image, and so the guideline says that I should use image element, which I used, and I should use the alt attribute to describe the picture. I used it here. And I should use brief but descriptive file names, which I did here. And for example, I should use commonly supported file names. So I used the JPG, which is a commonly supported file name. And the last guideline that I followed is related to my navigation bar. It says that I should plan my navigation bar based on my home page, which I did. So it says the most general page, which is in my case home page, should be first, and then the other pages should follow here, like in my case an education, hobbies, and other pages. And it should be made as easy as possible for the user to navigate. So which in my case is true, because the user doesn't have to click many times to get to a relevant page. So for example, if I want to go to home page, I just click once, and if I want to go home to the home page, I click again just one time. And that's it for the third guideline. Now I'm going to talk about how I implemented or why I implemented this line here. So this line gives the browser instructions on how to control the page's dimensions and scaling. This one, the viewport line. And I also used the media queries here. On line 70 here, and the media queries are used to determine the width and the height of a viewport to make web pages look good at other devices, for example tablets or phones. Now I'm going to show you how it works on my website. So if I shrink the home page, you can see that the picture and the text goes underneath this picture here. I make it big again, so it's a kind of responsive. Now I'm going to talk about my form validation. This is the page where the user enters his password in order to get to see the content of my website. So if the user enters the correct PIN number and clicks OK, as you can see, it takes over to my home page. So going back here, and now I'm going to talk about the code. So here is the section which created this input box. So for example, the form element is like a container for different types of input elements here, such as for example, text field, radio button, or submit button. So here you can see, for example, this one defines a label. This one displays a single line text input field, and this one creates the button, yeah. And so now I'm going to talk about the JavaScript, because the JavaScript is important part of this code. So to make the validation box fully functional, internal script was implemented here. Within this script tag here, and so in HTML, JavaScript code is inserted, as I said, between these two tags, and I decided to place it at the bottom of the body element, because it improves the display speed. And okay, here is inside the script tags, there's the function itself. The name of the function is validate form, and the function is invoked when the user clicks on the button, and it is called by this piece of code here. So when the user clicks the button, it invokes the function and executes this piece of code here. So it's if statement. So it says it validates the user's input. So it says if the user enters a non-number or the numbers that are outside this range, this message is displayed underneath the validation box. In order to access an HTML elements, JavaScript can use this piece of code, the document.getElementById. So that's what I use. This is method that I use. So the elements are here, for example, this ID, first name, text field. So with the help of this piece of code, it's imported into the function here. And these ones are local variables. They can be seen by the function, only by the function. So, and for example, I assigned this value to variable x, so it will be stored there. And I think that's all. Thank you.